Hello and welcome to Jaywood Fly Fishing. In this video I'm going to be doing a bug known as the little black fly. This is a pattern that was designed by Schelle of Billings, Montana for use specifically on the Bighorn River at Fort Smith. It's intended to represent emerging midges, or it can also represent beta nymphs. It's kind of a crossover pattern, a catch-all if you will, and it is extremely effective down there on the Bighorn. Now I'm going to start out with a Mustad S80 hook, and I'm doing this in size 18. You can tie these from 18s to 22s and even 24s if you really want to go down small. The body of the fly is just the thread, which in this case is a Vivus 14-aught in black. So I'm going to start that thread covering about what would be the thorax of the fly, and then I'm going to add my rib, which is an extra small gold ultra wire, and I'm going to tie it to the back side of the hook. The reason I'm doing that is because I don't want it to interfere with the tail once I start doing the ribbing. Now I'm going to lay a single layer back to the bend of the hook, and then take one more wrap over the last strap at the bend of the hook. This is going to help keep my tail in place and keep it from falling off the back of the abdomen when I start covering with thread wraps going back towards the front of the fly. Now the tail is just about 6 or 8 black rooster hackle fibers, and I'm going to measure it to the length of the body of the fly from right behind the eye to the back of the thorax. So I want to catch it right up on top. You can see that one thread wrap kind of kicks that tail up a little bit. It keeps your thread from sliding off the back. Now I'm just going to wrap the thread. Let's try to keep those fibers up on top. And I'm just laying a solid layer of thread for the abdomen. Clip that off right about where the back of the thorax is going to be, and just give her one more wrap to cover those butts. And take my wire and wrap my ribbing. Now I want 3 or 4 ribs to show on this. Then I'll do one additional one up under the thorax, and that's where my tie-off point will be, by putting wraps in front of, behind, and in front of the wire a few times. That'll trap that wire between the thread and allow me to pop it off pretty easily. Now the wing case on this, which will be the back of the thorax, is a medium pearl tinsel. Now if you're going to tie this fly in the 22 and 24 size, you might want to go down to a small pearl tinsel to keep that wing case from overpowering the entire fly. Let me back that up a little bit. I want that 4th rib to be my mark point for the back of the thorax. Now for the thorax, I'm going to use a Wapsi Life Cycle dubbing in peacock. Now this is a substitute for the original material that's called for in Mr. Shelle's recipe, which is Arizona synthetic peacock in the natural peacock color. But this is a real close substitute. I just couldn't get a hold of the Arizona dubbing to do this, and you want your dubbing to be pretty fine. I tried using ice dub in peacock, and it's just too coarse. It doesn't act the same way when we tease it out towards the end to create the legs on this fly. So I got my thorax wrapped. My thread's right behind the eye of the hook. I'm just going to tie or drop one thread wrap over the tinsel, pull down on my bobbin to hold that tinsel in place, and then make a few wraps over the fold before I take my whip finisher and finish that off. We'll clip our thread, reach in here over this camera, and clip my tinsel. Now I'm going to use this is a eyebrow brush, but you can use your dubbing teaser, whatever you've got on hand. I just like this eyebrow brush. It's very versatile. You can also use a bodkin. Takes a little bit longer, but it will still get the job done. Now what we're trying to do is kind of imitate the look of peacock curl, but this dubbing, unlike peacock curl, is a little bit more durable. So once I get it teased out, I'm just going to pull that down and reach in here and clip my legs. I'm going to turn that so I can actually see it since I'm looking around the camera, and get it to just the right length that I'm looking for so that you can see what the fly is supposed to look like. And it's pretty short and just really fuzzy looking, about like peacock curl would be. And there you have it. That is Pat Schelle's Little Black Fly. Hope you enjoyed that.